Hello guys, welcome back to the crew Waltron, driving our car's part number 80. 80. The Subaru BRZ, which has a completely ruined gauge, or how do you guys call that? Dials and numbers completely gone during daylight, so they another one they messed up with the latest July, tunnel patch as I call that. The Subaru brought a new feature where if you drive through a tunnel, the lights go on. If you drive out of the tunnel, the lights go back out. Interior dashboard lighting, that is. And that's all good, but they ruined it for some of the cars, meaning that you're just driving around outside of the tunnel, so daylight you can't see your dials and numbers anymore. Or hardly. Let's have a look. BRZ Street, Dirt, Performance and Drift. That's what we are looking at here. Now, the street spec. Yeah, that is something. For some people, this is the best, or amongst the best in street spec. Personally, I'm not a fan of it for certain reasons, but I can understand it might work if you drive this thing. Maybe gamepad or wheel, and in manual gears, it might just work. It's a high revving car, it's wheel spinning and it keeps high revving all the time, and you're not really getting anywhere. That's the feeling that I have with this car, so I'm not using it. I have done, almost 300 kilometers in it, and that's most of it in free drive. I think I have something like 1200 kilometers in the Skyline and about 2-3,000 in the Mini, which is the one that I mostly of the time use. But it has the acceleration though, 26.2, nevertheless the wheel spin and all that. But that is half a second slower, especially on this Bonville versus the four-wheel drive Skyline, which you don't have the wheel spin of course. And it's faster way due to traction. But what did the Mini do? 26.1 I think. This one 26.2 and the Skyline 25.7. Moving to the dirt spec. Yep, and that is a bit of a strange one. Also suffers a bit from wheel spin and high revving as well. But for some reason, because this is kind of a new spec, it wasn't there when they released the Subaru BRZ. They came up with this additional spec, dirt, I don't know, April, May somewhere, 2016. Then they added this spec. And since then I kind of been using it. But 28.1 is a pretty disappointing time in for dirt acceleration. So below average here on acceleration in the dirt, but nevertheless PvP races, dirt spec, you will very often see me take this one, and I've won quite some races with it. So I don't know what it is. For some reason I do not like the street spec, and I'm using the dirt spec, although the acceleration time is, well, bad actually if you compare it to a rough, which has 26.3 there. Performance, yeah. Recently used that one in a brand time attack for the qualifiers, and no. High revving, wheel spinning till third gear, it's not going anywhere. Also this one, not my favorite one. 24.0. Also that is somewhere in the middle of the pack, and most of it comes due to wheel spinning. But it all might change, doesn't it? The more I think about it, the whole game can change with the coming of calling all units. Especially with the level 60 parts, which will bring the cars to, I don't know, I think it probably will be 1499, and that might change the whole performance balance. And for instance, in performance, who knows, the Huayra might just not be the best one anymore. Maybe the new Hurricane is, who knows. Here we go, tire marks on the road. It's high revving and screaming, and then you change gears, and then it sort of drops out on power. That's how it feels to me. If it shifts and you come under 5000 RPM, it's like you really you want to give it a push or something, and then probably it's just a feeling. Let's look at it. I mean, I'm just on the throttle like I do with the other cars, and same settings and all, and this thing is spinning wheels like crazy. And here we go. You have to give it a little bit more boost there every time, otherwise it kind of stuck around 5000 RPM every time before it eventually decides to keep going. I don't know what it is. Is it gear ratio too long or something like that? I can't really understand why people find this, compared to a Skyline or a Mini, also a good one. It has a top speed, that is for sure. It would probably go way over 360. Here we go, 367. And that will probably be it. The top speed. The handling, it's a pretty small car, so the handling is also good. Constantly have the feeling that it's sort of stuck on certain RPMs, and then you always have to push the nitro. Most of the time I drive on automatic. It might be different for manual players. Or is it this car that is loved by clutch puck users or something like that? That might be it. I don't know. For me, if you're gonna do this in a time attack, it probably will be up there somewhere. 3rd, 4th, 5th of street specs, depending on the track. But for me, yeah, top 5 maybe, but definitely not top 2, as some make it. Performance spec, yeah, pretty small. So also here, handling should not be a problem. You can flick that thing around probably. Here we go again, wheel spinning. If you dare to use nitro at that point, you're wheel spinning up till 4th gear. On a wet surface, you're definitely wheel spinning till 3rd gear at least. And that's what makes this together with a pretty average acceleration. Here stuck again. I think it's a long gear ratio. I think it has to do with that. Same as in the street spec. You're kind of stuck, and then have to push the nitro boost to make it change gears. And but I am assuming that also here we are gonna talk about a high top speed. That's what I'm gonna test here on the downhill, at least, if traffic kind of works with us here. So the little nitro spams might work on this car, and that usually suggests that if you drive this thing in manual it might work pretty decent. 390 we're already doing. 400, yeah, you will be able to reach 400 with this thing. And it sticks to the road, so handling is more than okay, the top speed is more than okay. The wheel spin is the biggest problem from what I see. If they would fix the wheel spin on this car, then might be a completely different story. Because it, well, not on, yeah, also the acceleration depends on the wheel spin, of course, so it is high revving, so it should have a decent acceleration, and it's only average if you put it on a mile there. Fun factor, that's something it has, that's for sure. Top speed handling, fun factor, or plus the wheel spin is kinda not. So that's probably will be my minus for it. Then we come to this thing, yeah. This is, although this is one that I can't really explain, because it sort of behaves the same like the street spec. So it also suffers from the wheel spin. Acceleration is below average for the dirt spec. Why am I there? I need to be on a dirt road. Below average on acceleration. It also has a bit of a wheel spin, but also good handling and high revving on a dirt road is not that bad of a feature. And also wheel spin on a dirt road is, yeah, well, you slide about, you sort of really throw this car through the corners because it has decent handling. Well, not decent, it's just good handling. Or maybe it's because I'm used to it. What did I did with it? About 1200 kilometers. Ever since it's released this spec, I kind of have been using it. That's how it goes, you know. A new spec comes into the game and you have kind of stuck with your bugs there, so you immediately put it at 1299 and throw it around. And this thing was surprisingly good. And I have been using this, and I know it all depends on drivers and all that, but BMW X6 beaten, rough RT beaten, so it's definitely one you can use. Are you gonna beat every time? Not at all, because especially the rough has a way more better acceleration. But it's small, the handling is more than okay, so you can turn it around over the tracks, and it kinda works. You are constantly spamming the boost though, because of its lack acceleration. But the fact that it's small and you can throw it around without any big issues, because the handling is that good, kinda like it. Which is a bit of a contradiction given the things I said about the street spec, which is kinda the same, but for some reason the street spec does not work for me on a road surface and on a dirt surface, which kinda handles the same, the car, but for me it seems to work on the dirt and not on the road. Might be a keyboard issue, I don't know, but or a personal preference. Or I'm just a bit different than the rest, that's also a possibility. I'm also not using the Skyline in street as much as everybody else is doing. I'm going for the Mini there. In performance, yeah, well, I go with the flow and go for the Huayra. In dirt I use this thing. Circuit I go for the Ferrari, of course. And in raid, also there, not really a fan of the Mustang. I most of the time go for the Silverado. Those are sort of the personal favorite cars. Even if they would make a raid spec out of this thing, it probably won't even be a bad one. It might depend on the inputs, but for a keyboard this seems to work pretty fine in dirt. So street dirt performance we have done. The general thing is, yeah, well, for me, but that's based on pure personal feeling, and that for me the best use is the dirt out of those three. Although I know that most will say that the street is the better one. Some might even like the performance, who knows. A bit too much suffering from the wheel spin on the road, and that's why I don't really like them. I don't like to have a lot of wheel spin. But doesn't suffer from it that much in dirt because, well, you're always sliding about there. But, of course, it also has a drift spec. Now, I'm not sure about this one. I don't know. Don't think I would use it. Maybe, well, I tested. I put them all on a small test, so we'll see. But I don't have any of them at 749, but also not at 1299 of all of them. So where is it? It's the lowest I have, 762. But it is small, so my favorite is the Mazda RX-7, and I think that's even a bit longer than this one. So this might just work. 762. That's one or two parts that I wanted for this car. So yeah, I have. Looking at the speedometer, I've driven 17 kilometers with this thing, so I have no clue actually. Probably shortly tested it on a certain track, or but not even finished that, because otherwise I would have more than 17 kilometers. Now for the drift I am in manual, and it's high revving, and that's probably, I might have to test it. The street spec in manual, that might just work better, and that's why probably people like it. Just put it in third gear, I am on the limiter, but it keeps going, I can keep flicking it around. Like I said, this car has one or two parts on it. Other than that, it's stock from the drift tuners. Well, stock is 749, coming from the drift tuners. Just put it in third gear from the beginning and flicking it around like it's nothing. And the multiplier keeps going. That means that you're dealing with a very good drift spec. Otherwise you can't do this with a car of 760 something. Might lose it here. Nope. Almost times 99. Yeah. This is definitely a drift spec that you can use. This is a pretty narrow track on the started current summit. That's what we did here, the current summit track. First go in this car and times 98. If I put this at 1299 it goes faster and then you will come further on the track. So we'll definitely would have it at 99 then. Personal feeling, the dirt, but this drift spec can certainly be used. I will see you guys in the next one and bye for now.